independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Russian intelligence officers were accused of hacking into computers of the Democratic National Committee in the Clinton campaign and then releasing stolen emails before the election.
The goal of the conspirators was to have an impact in the election. What impact they may have had, or what their motivation may have been independently of what's required to prove this offense, is a matter of speculation.
Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein said there's no allegation the conspiracy changed the vote count or affected the election result. He also said there was no evidence in this indictment any Americans knowingly communicated with the Russians.
Knowingly communicated. Because that's a big thing right there. Knowingly communicated with the Russians. Now, 12 were indicted. We learned nothing new. We all knew, all of us knew that the Russians hacked. All of us knew that. Right? We all knew that the Russians hacked. Trump, Hillary, Obama knew before everybody else that the Russians had hacked. So we all knew those things. Where do we go from here? What have we learned? Because there's no indictment here of an American. And the indictments they've gotten and or the guilty pleas have all been lying. Manafort is some archaic banking rules and laundering money. I mean, I'm still looking for that gun. I am. But this right here doesn't change anything. Just like Peter Strzok yesterday, nothing changed. I know a lot of people got mad at me yesterday. I got a lot of text messages. I'm never going to listen to you again. Yes, you are. Slow down. You're upset because I said yesterday was a joke. Because it was. And the reason is we're never going to find anything out there. Because the stuff that you want to find out, they plead the fifth about. The rest of it is arguing and grandstanding. This is something you throw out there. Remember, he's meeting Putin on Monday in Helsinki. Strange timing, but whatever. But when you think about this, we're still figuring this out. And here's another thing I want to throw out to you guys. I said this earlier, and I continue to say this, and people are like, oh, I never thought of that. The Russians were going to play with the election regardless of who was a candidate, Hillary or Trump. Regardless of the candidates, Russia was going to be involved. We act like if Hillary or Trump weren't there, that they weren't going to be involved in any way, shape, or form. No, I think this was their MO. I think this was their thing. Their modus operandi was they were going to go out there and do this. And they're going to continue to try to do things like this. That is what they're trying to do. They're trying to be a pest and a boil on the ass of American elections, and they're an annoyance. They're that gnat that flies around, and it flies by your ear, and you're like, that's what they are. But regardless of if it was Trump or Hillary, this was going to happen. They were going to do these things. Now, did somebody in Trump's campaign get catfished by them? That's a possibility. Somebody may have met somebody, and he said his name's Steve Smith, when really he was working for the enemy. Put on a disguise, he catfished him. Right? If you don't know what catfishing is, that's a very popular thing amongst the youth of America, where you meet somebody online and you pretend to be somebody else. Is that Trump's fault? I'm curious. I think it's a fair question to ask. So knowingly is a vital thing right there. Knowingly.
President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, called the indictment good news for all Americans and said no Americans are involved. While the new indictment does not charge an American citizen, it does say the Russians had reached out to someone who was in regular contact with senior members of the Trump campaign. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein said there's no allegation in this indictment that Americans knew they were talking to Russians.
Well, how can that be if I don't know I'm talking to somebody, if somebody's saying, hey, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other, I'm all of these things, they portray themselves in a certain way, and they're not, is that somebody in Trump's campaign's fault? I don't think so. But knowingly is a big thing. Did you knowingly meet with somebody? And I think that is going to be a very interesting thing moving forward. The reality is we knew what was going on. We've known for a long time. We didn't learn anything else out. All today we got was 12 indictments of bad foreign actors, Russian intelligence agents, military people. That's all we got. We didn't get anything else, right? There's no guilty pleas from Americans. Trump's people aren't saying they're guilty. We got nothing else out of this today. And now we just hang out and see what happens. Not that it matters, though. And I'm not talking about whether or not this matters. Of course, all of these things do matter. But I've learned now that, and this is something that I think that a lot of people need to understand. I've learned now that you can't let it affect you until you get to the point where you know the outcome. The outcome is done. Because too many people along the way, their emotions get too caught up in it. One side is agitated. The other side is angry. They're still figuring out how he won the election. So they're doing all they can for something, trying to push towards this, with all of their might and all of their psychic powers to push Mueller into some sort of an indictment against Trump. The other side is agitated that they're going out there and continuing to say all of these things. And maybe some of these things are true. Maybe they're not true. But the reality is we don't know yet. But I will tell you this. This is what I do know, having been in this business long enough. No matter what comes out of this, very few people, and I mean very few people, are going to change their mind. Right? Very few people. So the left side of the aisle, no matter what happens here, Trump is always guilty. If Mueller comes out in September and says the investigation is closing, we got 16 indictments, we got 8 people that have pled guilty or are currently awaiting trial, but nothing is connected solely or directly to Trump or anybody else higher up in the campaigns, and maybe somebody didn't know who they were talking to and they were catfish, but it can't be traced back to Trump. It still doesn't matter. Somewhere along the line, he got away with it. On the right side of the aisle, if he is found to have knowingly sent his campaign people to directly contact Russians once they found out what was going on and they got a bunch of dirt and they played this game here and they got caught, the right will never see it that way. They'll say he was set up by the deep state. So what we know now is what everybody else is going to know. There's a small group in the center who are waiting, like me. I'm waiting to see what the end looks like. If you ask me today, what does it look like? It looks like Trump didn't do anything. Could that change in 6 months? Could that change in 6 weeks? Could that change in 6 days? Absolutely. But if you ask me today, I don't see the smoking gun. I don't. But for a lot of other people, they've already made up their mind. Many of you listening right now have made up your mind. Like yesterday, people were mad at me. The Peter Strzok thing. I thought it was stupid because it was a waste of time. Chad, it is. Because we don't find anything out. I told you yesterday all that was going to happen while it was happening and hours before it ever ended. And that's what happened. Showboating, grandstanding, all of that stuff. But any of the stuff that we might find some things out about was the 5th. I plead the 5th. I can't talk about that. The FBI's advised me not to say anything. That's it. Not that it's not important, but we're not going to find out any bombshell stuff there. So what do we get? We get essentially a dramatic game show. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hope you're doing well on this Donut Friday. I had a delicious donut. Just want to tell you guys that from Bosa's Donut today. It was amazing. It was a chocolate old fashioned, and I just want to tell you, producer Phil, many of you have seen the I posted a picture on the Instagram and the whole 9 yards. I just ate that donut like 30 minutes ago. Because I do the 16-8 fast, where I eat, I fast for 16 hours and I eat. And so I really fasted for like 17 hours, and I had the donut, and it was delicious. Oh, goodness me. Donuts are just amazing. They are. They are God's happiness. That's what I say. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with me. Hey, what if I could tell you I'm working with a company that's going to give you 40% discounts on things like movie tickets. Right. Ooh, that'd be great, Chad. How about Disneyland, Disney World, Legoland, SeaWorld, and many, many others? Oh, Chad, tell me more. What if I told you their values are very much like your values and that they advocate for things like better immigration enforcement and reform, Social Security, and yes, Medicare? Oh, whoa, Chad. Yeah. And what if I told you there's even more benefits like travel discounts? Oh, no way. Yeah. Oh, so much more. And what if I told you you could join this group today for free? They're called AMAC, and they are amazing. They really, really, really are. They are essentially the opposite of what the Goliath giant ARP is. They share your values. They're a great group. They're going to give you all the benefits, plus, and you join for free. It doesn't cost you a penny. They're not even asking you for a credit card. All you have to do is go to amac.us/Chad. That's amac.us/Chad. You're going to receive a year membership. Does not cost you a penny. The benefits of this are amazing, and it's not costing you anything. You can also call them at 888-355-1668. That's 888-355-1668, or online at amac.us/Chad. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. Oh, Trump and jolly old England. How's that going over there? Interesting, to say the least. The World Cup. I'm going to tell you guys come Monday, I'm going to be a little depressed because I'm going to have, the World Cup fever will have broken, but I will be broken in my heart because it's a long time till the next World Cup rolls around. We got your urban word of the day straight ahead. And we're going to tell you what not to do on an airplane, because if you do this, it may cost you more than just the price of a ticket. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Are you PC and groupthink brainwashed? Time for a double detox shot of Chad.
A sea of signs above the heads of the people milling around under the sun here in the very center of Trafalgar Square.
Trafalgar.
Dump Trump, fight bigotry. Trump not welcome, says yet another. This is not America. Dump Trump, go home, you orange. Looks like a garden gnome, something like that. Another sign here says this is the carnival of resistance. And many smiles as well in the crowd here. People, I guess, with this point of view, are very happy to be here.
It was a carnival-like atmosphere in London today. And you know what? A lot of people out there, they don't like Trump. They don't. And I get that. Absolutely. And it's today was a day where huge crowds were out there, and is what it is. He didn't feel welcome, he said yesterday. And it's an interesting thing with Trump. You know, he had a meeting with the Sun, and apparently the Sun left out a few things in this interview.
He let loose in an interview he gave to the tabloid The Sun. Mr. Trump trashed London's mayor, saying that he was terrible when it comes to terrorism. He praised Boris Johnson, who just resigned as foreign secretary over Brexit, saying that he would make a great prime minister. And he slammed current Prime Minister Teresa May on the Brexit negotiations.
Now, was some of that true? Absolutely. But he also taped it, and they left out a lot of stuff as well. But that's modern journalism for everybody. I mean, you hear there's a reason that stars and athletes don't want to talk to journalists at times, because they're always afraid they're going to be misquoted, or half the quote's going to be left out, or things are going to be taken out of context. It is what it is. It's entertaining for us, something to talk about at times. But one of the big reasons, look, take away all of the drama that surrounds Trump, and there is a lot of drama. We get that. Trump's from New York. He's a New Yorker. If you've ever been to New York, they're straightforward, they're in your face, and very rarely is it personal. Most of the time, it's just matter of fact. In fact, I used to go to this pizza place. It's called New York Pizza. And if you didn't have your order, they're all guys from New York. If you didn't have your order ready when you got up there, they would just tell you to move, and they'd move on to the next guy. And it was like that. There was, and it wasn't nothing to do with you personally. And I think a lot of that is Trump. right? Is that New Yorker attitude. Does he say things that cross the line? Absolutely. I'm not going to defend some of the stuff he says. But in saying that, I also think we're not used to somebody who is not plastic, who's not pre-prepared, who is not put in a box where you take it out, you know exactly what it's going to say, how he's going to say it, or she's going to say it over and over again. You're going to get the same stat answers. And for a lot of people, that is Trump. You can do, and even if he had none of the other stuff around there, the rough around the edges, straight matter-of-fact style would still ruffle a lot of feathers around the globe. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Each and every day at this time, kids, we like to give it to you straight up and simple. We call this our urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
Somebody texts me today and says, Chad, I got an urban word for you. I'm not quite sure what it means. It's called kick rocks. And I said, oh, kick rocks. Kicks rocks, basically, is a way of telling somebody to skedaddle, putting it nicely. Why don't you blank off? Or in other terms, why don't you kick rocks? Mean get away from here. Move. Oh, yeah. But that's a nice PG way of saying it. Kick rocks is your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
So I tell you, come Monday, I'm going to feel a little sad, a little empty. So we have 2 games left in the World Cup. Tomorrow is the most useless of those games, which is the World Cup third-place game, England and Belgium. This is where you get to see all of the players who didn't play for their country in the World Cup play in the World Cup. Because neither team cares about coming in third. It means nothing. But Sunday, you have the final between Croatia and France. Later on, I'll give you my breakdown of who I think is going to win. Maybe you'll be surprised. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hey, when you go on an airplane, remember, you better obey those rules. It could cost you big time. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
In addition to releasing documents directly to the public, the defendants transferred stolen documents to another organization that is not identified by name in the indictment, and they used that organization as a pass-through to release the documents.
Ooh, who was that? It's Rod Rosenstein right there talking about today's indictment of the 12, Boris and Natasha. They've got them all, you squirrels and stuff and whatnot. You guys are crazy. I don't know what we learned from this today. We knew that the Russians had done some stuff, but what did they do? What did they know? What did Trump know? Who are these 12? Were they here? Were they there? Were they breaking in over there? How do we figure this out? I mean, we already knew all of this stuff. But the real thing and the question that's hanging over all of this that only anybody else cares about. We've known that they've done this stuff. We've known, but the question is, did Trump know? Did he not only know, but knowingly tell his campaign to pursue stuff with Russian spies, intelligence agencies, military people, anybody that he could? Did he do that? Here's a question, producer Phil. Maybe you can answer this. What if they say, nope, none of this stuff happened. None of this stuff did. We did find out, though, Trump did talk to a few British people who gave him information. Oh. Well, wait. I'm just curious. They were British. Does it change the narrative? Does it now become the British investigation? Just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. Now, he is meeting Monday, Trump, with the pooter. Senator Mark Warner doesn't want that to happen.
The president and his team are not willing to make the facts of this indictment a top priority of the meeting in Helsinki, then the summit should be canceled.
How do you know that? Well, he said so. But do you know that? Who knows what they're going to say? Because it is going to be a one-on-one meeting. It's going to be a closed-door meeting. And I love how they think this is how this should. This is what they think of Trump and the pooter.
There should be no one-on-one meeting between this president and Mr. Putin. There needs to be other Americans in the room.
Oh, goodness me. It is, it's interesting. It is. It is interesting. But until we get the case closed, we're not going to get the answers that a lot of us out there think, and want to know. And we're not going to get all of the answers. Stuff will be classified, certain things out there. But right now, everybody's just guessing. They get a little bit of information and they run hog wild with it. They get a little information and they run hog wild with it. They get a little bit of information and they run hog wild with it. I don't know, and neither do you, what's going to come out of this. But I think we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer. But in saying that, every time we think we're getting closer, we hear, well, it could be August. They're going to wrap this thing up. It seems like, well, it might be another 6 months or a year. How long are the American people going to? Here's another question. Right or left side of the aisle. If Mueller's investigation, if we're still here a year talking about it, the Mueller investigation, or 2 years, that would be, look, in this day and age, I don't put, you know what? I never say never. Never say never. So you don't know. You don't know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So you go on an aeroplane. And while you're on an aeroplane, maybe somebody inside their tube flying in the sky is a little unruly, and you might have to, if you're the pilot, make a decision.
Since that United Airlines passenger was dragged off a plane, there's been a worry that the atmosphere in jetliners is changing. The number of these scenes is growing. A passenger taken down by a pilot.
Sit down. I'm not. You don't put your hands on my flight attendant.
Fights even before takeoff. Yelling, screaming, disobeying flight attendant orders, bringing tension to the aluminum tubes that carry us. Even diverting flights.
And that's the big thing right there. That's the word, diverting flights. Now listen to this. This is a guy named James August, who, by the sounds of it, is an awful person. But when you're an awful person and you're 35,000 feet in the air, you have to remember a few things. First and foremost, the thing you must remember is it's a federal crime if you're an idiot.
But this morning, similar behavior could be costly. Just ask James August, who's just been ordered to pay Hawaiian Airlines nearly $100,000. He was abusive and threatening to his girlfriend and 3 kids, then to flight attendants on a flight to JFK in November, even using the back of his hand to slap an attendant. The pilot turned back. A judge ordering the New Jersey man to pay back the cost of fuel, crew, and rebooking.
Oh, yeah. That's not cheap, by the way, diverting a flight. And there's a difference between a medical diversion. Somebody has a heart attack. They have a seizure. They say, we've got to get this plane down. We divert it. You know, you're flying from L.A. to Albuquerque, and you've got to stop in Phoenix or Tucson. That is a different story. You being a Richard on an airplane, you attacking other people and passengers or people who are working on the airplane, and now it's diverted, you're going to pay big time.
Could this be a message to passengers who may have felt emboldened after the outrage of Dr. David Dow being dragged off a jet for refusing to give up his seat?
There's a bit of a pendulum swing, I think, going on after the David Dow incident with United Airlines. We don't want to have unruly passengers. You know, it's just not a good idea, and passengers need to exercise restraint.
This passenger's lack of restraint will cost him 10% of his pay a month until he's paid Hawaiian Airlines back that nearly $100,000.
That's a lot of dollars to pay back. And I don't know what kind of money James is rolling with. Maybe he makes $60,000 a month and he'll pay it back within a year and a half. Maybe he makes $6,000 a month, and he's going to have to pay it back over a long period of time. But that's huge. And I wondered when I heard this and I read this, I thought to myself, first of all, a jerk. Secondly, if this is a message sent to passengers, we're sick and tired of this. Every week it's something new. Now everybody has phones too, which makes it all the more of a pain in the ass for the airline industry to have to deal with not only something happening on the airplane, but in many cases happening on the airplane and it's being broadcast live. So we've got to figure something out. And then we're going to start holding these people accountable if we have to divert. And when they took them to court, the judge might be said, you know what, we'll send a message here and see if anybody hears that message. We'll see if anybody out there hears the message. And I bet a lot of people do. And here's the other thing, though. What if you're on a flight? It's a long flight. And you get to the airport, airportaholics, and they have a few drinks, but they're sober-ish, that you wouldn't drive, but they're not drunk. But you get on an airplane and you continue to be sold booze over and over again, and then you get unruly. Don't you think they would have I think they would have a case there, say, you guys shouldn't have sold me booze. You should have known better. Because that's the way somebody's going to fight it. It's going to be interesting, though, to see. It really is what happens. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Sacha Baron Cohen, of course, is duping everybody left, right, and center. He's got Sheriff Joe Arpaio. He's hit more than a few. And this isn't happening now. This isn't like he's not going somewhere now. This happened over the last several months. And people are now just finding out that they were duped. And, of course, Sarah Palin is really upset.
It just got worse and worse and worse as the minutes went on in this bizarre, really embarrassing, humiliating interview that, it mocked middle-class Americans. It mocked our values. It mocked the disabled.
I don't know what he did because we've not seen it yet. They're being very tight-lipped. And with all of this stuff coming in, I know Showtime and I think CBS owns Showtime. I think they're starting to feel a bit of the heat. They're excited about it. But at the same time, you start to wonder, does he go too far in this day and age of political correctness? Does he overstep his boundaries? And to me, and I don't know who was it. Somebody else was just Sacha Baron Cohen got another talk show host, and he apparently thinks it's hilarious. He's fine with it, and that's the way I think you should take it because it takes the sting out of it when you can just laugh about something like this. Many people they can't. They just freak out and they lose their mind. And when you do that, you're got. That's what they want. When you do that, it was Austin Rose of WGAC in Augusta who was apparently gotten, if you will, and finds it amusing.
Mocking the disabled and mocking and belittling our vets with his portrayal. In my book, it's not funny.
No, but here's the thing. And this is what I'm going to tell everybody out there. And this is where you just have to learn to laugh. In his book and the audience he's appealing to, you are the punchline. Not the disabled, if that's true what he did, or vets. You are the punchline. It's about making you feel uncomfortable. It's about mocking you. That's what it is. They're not the punchline. You are.
This quote-unquote comedian is obviously very good at lying, at duping people, because look at the long list now since I've come out and described my experience. All these other guys, all these men coming out now saying, oh, yeah, me too.
Oh, me too. He got the ha-ha, me too. And I like I said, I don't know what Showtime's going to do, but loving every second of it, I'm sure, is the run-up into this. And it'll be it may be one of those things. I have a feeling a lot of it is going to be you're going to be watching something, knowing people are being duped. And I'm sure there's going to be some extremely uncomfortable things there because they're the punchline. The Dick Cheneys are the punchlines. The Sarah Palins are the punchlines. The Sheriff Joe Pies are the punchlines. You guys are the punchline, not the other people he's quote unquote mocking.
Whatever this show is, whatever this interview really is all about humiliation and devaluing middle-class Americans whom I represent. So, yeah, I said enough was enough, and I took off my mic and I walked out.
And that's the exact same thing that he was hoping for on all of these, is that they take their microphones off and they storm out because it's better for the show. But we'll see what happens. We'll see the pressure that's put on, because if some of this is as they describe it, and it is mocking of the disabled, and it is mocking of the American vets, then Showtime and everybody else they're going to have something to answer for in this day and age. They may say, hey, look, we're okay with some of this, but there's a line that we can't go past. But I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll just soak it up, and they're being very, very tight-lipped about this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love it when you do. I went and saw a movie last night. I'll talk a quick bit about that, plus a couple movies opening up this weekend. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
But saw a movie last night. Before we talk about that, producer Phil, speaking of movies, you were recently featured in a documentary.
I was.
Tell everybody your exciting news.
My hands were shown for about a second and a half.
For the BBC.
For the BBC, yeah.
For the BBC, yes. Very interesting. Our good friend. Get you a SAG card, huh? Is that what they say? Get you a SAG card now?
Yeah, man. Where's my royalties at? I didn't sign a release.
That's right. Movies coming out this weekend. The box office, all the buzz. You got two big movies. Transylvania is going to be all the rage, but Transylvania is leaving Transylvania. Hotel Transylvania 3, Adam Sandler movie coming out this weekend. The cartoon, the third installment of it. You've got Skyscraper with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Neve Campbell plays his wife. I was like, the first time I saw the trailer, I'm like, is that Neve Campbell? I'm like, oh my God, she's still acting. But she's in this as well. It looks interesting, looks fun. Basically, it's the Towering Inferno with The Rock and a bunch of action. Hotel Transylvania, supposed to be really good and enjoyable for the kids. That's really what you have. You have the holdover of Ant-Man and the Wasp. So it should be an interesting weekend battle at the box office, because it's that time of year where they're starting to roll out movie after movie after movie. I may go see, and this is a may go see, Skyscraper this weekend, because I like action movies. Last night, I did go see a movie. It was called The Purge, the first Purge. I went and saw it, and it was enjoyable, but it wasn't great. I liked the first Purge movie. I loved the second and third Purge movie. This one was... The first Purge movie was very interesting, very low as far as, just very few cameras. I won't say low budget as in like cheap, but it was just very much, you could tell they filmed it in just probably, as Blumhouse does, everything's quick and tight and it's fast, and you could tell that there was no frills to it, but the chills and the excitement were great. The second two, I absolutely loved. I thought it was great. This one was too much drama, too much political crap. I just didn't feel it like I did the other one. Not enough excitement for me. And it tells how the Purge came about being the Purge. And there was some political connotations, wrapped around today's world that we live in. But all in all, it wasn't a bad movie, but it was the second and third Purge movies were easily the best. But this weekend, there's only going to be one winner as far as I'm concerned, and it's this.
Actually, I was thinking you and Johnny should spend some time together. What do you call it again? Date night?
Come on, Johnny. Date night. So, you must be the one and only Dracula.
Dubide, shula, kubide?
There's just something about an accent that makes a man sound so intelligent.
It's for the kids. They go on a cruise. All of the monsters Looks funny, take the kids and laugh. Skyscraper, if you like action, will be the movie you want to see. And Ant-Man and the Wasp, everybody I know that's seen it says it is really, really good. But next week, they're really starting to roll them out now. So next week, you've got The Equalizer, you've got Mamma Mia 2, and you've got Unfriended 2. Then you've got Mission Impossible, Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Then you got Darkest Minds, Christopher Robinson, Searching, The Spy Who Dumped Me. You get where we're going. They're just rolling them out time after time after time. Although I will say this, August 10th, the movie comes out that is based on a true story done by Spike Lee, and it looks just amazing. It's called The Black Klansman, and it's a true story about a guy who went to Colorado, and he just answered an ad in the paper looking for essentially white people, and he was a black cop, and he kind of got into the Klan, so they had to send a white cop when he met David Duke, and it was hilarious. But it was also real and gritty. Very interesting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with us on this beautiful Friday. It is the Friday edition of the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Russian intelligence officers were accused of hacking into computers of the Democratic National Committee in the Clinton campaign and then releasing stolen emails before the election.
The goal of the conspirators was to have an impact in the election. What impact they may have had, or what their motivation may have been independently of what's required to prove this offense, is a matter of speculation.
Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein said there's no allegation the conspiracy changed the vote count or affected the election result. He also said there was no evidence in this indictment any Americans knowingly communicated with the Russians.
Boom! But wait, knowingly communicated? And how many Americans were involved in this? Just curious how many Americans were indicted. Let's see here. I'm going to do the math. I'm not great at math. Phil and I struggle with this. And 2 carry the 4 minus 0. 0. 0 is how many?
President Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, called the indictment good news for all Americans and said no Americans are involved. While the new indictment does not charge an American citizen, it does say the Russians had reached out to someone who was in regular contact with senior members of the Trump campaign. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein said there's no allegation in this indictment that Americans knew they were talking to Russians.
And that's huge, knowingly. So were they duped? And here's my other question. I've got a lot of questions about this. Questions I think that if you're a defense attorney looking at this and you were to ask somebody is, if they were British, would this make a difference? If they were French, would this make a difference? If they told you that they were just run-of-the-mill people and they catfished you and they were actually people trying to disrupt this and you didn't know that because you were looking for information on a competitor in a race in the world of politics, which everybody does, whether it's at the city council level all the way up to the presidency, you're looking for dirt on somebody. Just curious. Would that have made a difference? But what we know now is we're in the same place we were yesterday. Trump is still president. He's going to continue to be president. He's going to see out this, and then maybe he runs for re-election. And I say maybe because I don't always know what Trump is going to do because I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows what he's going to do. He may say, and move on. He may say, I'm doing this. Right? The Republicans could hold serve in November, and he's like, yeah, I'm doing this. They could lose, And he may say, you know what, I've had enough of this crap. I'm not going to be able to get anything done. And this is just going to be a giant, just an awful mess, even if I win. You just don't know. But this investigation was about Russia and the Trump organization and people trying to say, look, the only way this cat won is because of Russia. The only way that this guy won is because of Russia. There can be no other answer. That they played a part. And we knew they played a part. Obama knew they played a part long before any of this stuff. He knew. And I think it was right for Trump and his defense attorneys to come out at times and say, hey, look, or his attorneys, to come out and say, you knew about, why didn't you talk about this? Why didn't you let everybody know what was going on? So these 12 that they've indicted, it is what it is. At the end of the day, there's still nothing. And I don't know how much longer this is going to go on. Because I think the American people, the people want Trump out at all costs. They want this thing to go until he gets popped. And even if Mueller comes out today and says, there's nothing here. I mean, we got some people for some other stuff, and we got the Russians that we think were really involved in this, and we don't know how high it goes up, but we figure it goes up to the pooter, and we got all of these things, and we've got some people here that were, they lied to us, but really a lot of it had nothing to do with Russia, and we got some indictments and some guilty pleas and blah, 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 but it didn't go up to Trump. Those people on the left are going to say it's a conspiracy theory. Absolutely did. They've been bought and paid for. There's no way that this didn't go up to Trump. People on the right, if they come out and say, look, we've got Trump dead to rights, they're going to say it's deep state, blah, 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 blah. So a good portion of people on the left and right, about 20%, they've made up their minds. Some people, they think their side's right, but they're not quite 100% sure. And then there's a group in the middle who want to see it through, and then we'll look at all the information, and then we'll go from there. But as of now, if you said today, this is what we've got, sorry, people on the left, Trump hasn't done anything. And you haven't shown me that he's done anything. You haven't shown me one bit of anything that he has done. Not saying Russia wasn't involved. We knew they were involved. Absolutely. To what extent and to who they were working with, that still remains to be seen.
In addition to releasing documents directly to the public, the defendants transferred stolen documents to another organization that is not identified by name in the indictment, and they used that organization as a pass-through to release the documents.
And we know it's WikiLeaks, but who was the middle group? That's what everybody kind of wants to know. Who's this unnamed group here that they went after? And how much of an influence did it have?
They discussed the timing of the release in an attempt to enhance the impact on the election.
Yeah, of course. But remember, looking for dirt on your opponent is not bad. That's what everybody does. Looking for dirt on your opponent is what everybody does. And I tell you guys this, and I think we'd all agree. If you would have came to Hillary and made a deal that you got to make a deal with the pooter, but you're going to be president, I think she takes that 100 times. She's willing to take the heat. We've seen that with Benghazi and a lot of stuff. She'll fight it all day long, but she'd be willing to do it every time. And if the tables were reversed, people on the right would be screaming, this is wrong. Russia stole the election. The people on the left would be saying, shut up. It's a bunch of crap. It's all made up. Deep state, da-da-da-da-da, if you flipped it. And here's another thing. I don't care who was in this last election. If it was Hillary versus Bush or Cruz, it doesn't matter. If it was Bernie Sanders versus, John Kasich, Russia was going to get into this thing. This was something that they were going to do and that they set out to do. It just happened to be these two.
Donald Trump likes to describe this as a witch hunt. Well, we just found some witches, and they were indicted.
Yeah, they were indicted. but it's not the witch that you're looking for. Which witch is it? Not that witch. Which way did they go? They went east. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. CarShield is amazing. Let me tell you something. CarShield will save you. Don't be silly. Get CarShield now before it's too late. Told you guys a story the other day about my friends. Two of my friends. One of them got CarShield. The other one, I said, you should get CarShield. No. I've got a warranty. The warranty had expired. Out of pocket, about $1,800 with tax and everything. My other friend had about $2,100 worth of work done. Paid the deductible away it went. Everything was fine. Huge. They make the cost of cover repair so easy. You should get this because you love your car. You love maybe not having a payment anymore, but you want that security of the what if. And this is what you get with CarShield. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car while your car's in the shop. That is awesome. And that is for free. And on top of all of that, you get to choose the shop. They don't say, hey, you got to take it here. No. You choose it. They get it paid directly. It's amazing. Save yourself thousands of future car repairs. Get yourself covered by CarShield like I did and so many more are doing with extended vehicle protection. Call 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson. That's 800-CAR-6100. Code Benson saves you 10%, or carshield.com. That's carshield.com. Save you 10%. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. It's a Me Too world. And even if you say something about why you don't want to do something in this Me Too world, you could be in trouble with the Me Too people. Huh? Where do you hear this? Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
Papa John says it's pulling founder John Schnatter's image from marketing materials after reports say he used a racial slur during a conference call in May. Schnatter has long been the face of the company, but he'd already been removed from some materials by late Friday morning. Schnatter stepped down as chairman of the company's board this week. He stepped down as CEO earlier this year, and despite the fallout, the company says it has no plans to change its name.
I heard that yesterday. They're like, oh, should we change the name? And I'm like, is this like, wait, what? Change the name? The brand? No. What he did was stupid and wrong. And if you don't know, I'll recap the story really quickly. In a marketing meeting that he's talking to a marketing company, they were talking about all kinds of things. And somehow inside of there, because he is, I think he is, he's been a lightning rod at times of controversy in this day and age. And he is, he's not the how should we say this? Not the nicest guy maybe to work with, kind of a jerk at times. He has been critical of the Affordable Care Act and a bunch of other things like that. And, he is also, he's donated to Trump and he donated to Mitt Romney. So you get it. He's to the right. But somehow in a marketing meeting, it came up with how would you address racism or when it comes to the social media world and how do you distance yourself from that? And he was saying back in his day in Indiana, he was describing things that happened there. He would also talked about, hey, look, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Arlen Sanders, in his day, he said things like the N-word, and nobody says anything about that. And people were like, oh. Now, that's what I've got out of it from everybody I've talked to. He didn't come out and call somebody that. He didn't do any of those things. Now, that I wasn't there, but from what I gathered, it was during that kind of thing, and people were offended by it. And so now it's you got to get rid of everything about this. You got to that's it, period, case closed. Just get rid of it, gone. No. And he's been dropped by, some Major League Baseball teams. Louisville, who he sat on the board. One of the team's stadium was named, Papa John's Stadium. They got rid of all of that, and they're trying to build a more inclusive, place, and they're working on inclusivity, and they're working, Papa John's is working towards this thing, and they're happy about it, blah, 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 blah. But I just sat back and I said, wow, the thought of even changing the name over something like this, that people would say maybe they should change their name, that is just ridiculous.
After reports that Papa John's founder John Schnatter used a racial slur during a conference call in May, several organizations have started distancing themselves from the company. The MLB says it's indefinitely suspended promotions with Papa John's. The Miami Marlins did the same, and now the New York Yankees also say it's suspended its relationship with the company. The University of Louisville also announced Friday it was dropping Papa John's name from its football stadium and removing John Schnatter's name from its Center for Free Enterprise.
It's a word, and it's horrible, and it's awful, and he should have known better. But this goes back to what I was talking about yesterday, is the punishment fit the crime. And even sometimes when you're in the middle of something and you say something, you think it's just an innocuous thing that you said. Case in point, Henry Cavill, who's the actor, he plays, the Man of Steel, Superman, and in the DC Comics movies and whatnot. He's come out, and in the Australian GQ, he said he is having issues dating in the Me Too world because he doesn't want to pursue women and get accused of rape and things like that and have his life up in turmoil. And they've come out. The PC police and posse have rounded up everybody they could, and they've attacked him for even saying that. And he's since apologized, for which I don't know what he's apologizing for. I don't. A guy like him and many other people who are famous, in the past, there was always a worry of you date somebody, it goes south, you get accused of something, and or they want something from you. So that's the reality of it. Now, even more so, because back in the day, you could usually pay people to go away. Nowadays, it doesn't matter. Because if somebody gets into their mind that you're a bad person, you're done and dusted. But this goes back to that, how dare you speak the truth about how you feel in a situation like this, because the movement is more important than your feelings, which is asinine, which is ridiculous. But as we've seen with the movement, as we've seen with a lot of things, one word, Papa John's, or one accusation can not only derail your career, could potentially destroy your career and your life. But he says something that he feels to be real. Look, in the Me Too generation, I have trouble dating. And the reason is simple. There's a certain, he goes, there's a certain thing where you court a woman, you date a woman, you chase a woman. And nowadays, you can't do that. So I'll just settle with, hey, I'll go back and go into another, I'll date some of the women I've dated in the past, even though it didn't work out. It's just easier because it's kind of better the devil you do than the devil you don't. And I'm here to tell a lot of these women, right? I'm going to let it out of the bag because I got friends. We talk. Those dolls are getting real, and they're getting affordable. And guys are like, I got a girl at home. Hang out with my buddies. Chad, that's awful. Is it awful or is it the truth? That's the thing. I'm going out. Oh, that's right. You don't care because you're an animatronic doll. But it's not the same. No, it's probably not. But I'm telling you, that's what a lot of men are feeling right now. And could you imagine what it's like to be a star in this day and age? I mean, we saw what happened with Aziz Ansari. Why would you want to? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
In addition to releasing documents directly to the public, the defendants transferred stolen documents to another organization that is not identified by name in the indictment, and they used that organization as a pass-through to release the documents.
Rod Rosenstein right there talking today about the 12 people that have been indicted criminally through the Mueller investigation as they investigate Russia and the hacking in. Apparently they hacked the DNC server, which we knew, Hillary, which we knew, and a few other things, all of which we knew. But they did say today that no American that they knew of or that they so far have been able to found knew any of this stuff. So what happens? We'll see. How much longer does the investigation go on? Again, we'll see. But this is definitely another situation where all of these things we've already thought or we knew. We knew Russia was involved. That's not a secret. We knew WikiLeaks leaked everything and they got them from somewhere. That's not a secret. Is there a third party in between that got the information and leaked it? Maybe. But for all intents and purposes, all of the things today that you're hearing are things that we already knew or we already thought.
When an election is so close, it's hard to put your finger on any one particular issue, but clearly this had some impact.
But what impact did it? This is my thing. What impact did it have? If these were two unknown commodities, there were candidates we didn't know anything about, could it have had an impact? There wasn't anything inside of any of this stuff that anybody was really surprised about when it came to Hillary. Trump has lived his life in front of the camera. We knew pretty much everything about Trump. We knew that he was, he likes the ladies. We knew a lot of these things. I mean, there was nothing so far that we have found that has been astonishing, like, oh, wow. It's like even when the Colin Powell, when he talked about Israel and the nukes, everybody already knew they had nukes. People who don't even understand, politics or follow it knew that militarily Israel had stuff like nukes. But now it's out there. Well, but did it influence you? I don't think it did. And until they can find, and if you're influenced by a meme or a fake story, that's on you. Right? That's on you. But unless they find, hey, they went in and changed votes, it's going to be really tough. It is. It's going to be very, very tough. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's going to be tough for them to hang something on Trump, and that's what they want. That's what they're looking for. That's what this investigation has started out to be. They may get indictments for other people for lying, saying it was Tuesday when it was really Wednesday. That's why lawyers say just shut up. That's why you see them say plead the fifth. Plead the fifth. Plead the fifth. Plead the fifth. Say nothing. I'm cooperating. Aren't you nice to me? Well, they're looking to catch you on something. So there you go. Plead the fifth. But until they find that smoking gun, it's just more things that we already knew. So you're on an airplane and you say to yourself, self, I'm going to make this plane uncomfortable for all.
Since that United Airlines passenger was dragged off a plane, there's been a worry that the atmosphere in jetliners is changing. The number of these scenes is growing. A passenger taken down by a pilot.
Sit down. I'm not. You don't put your hands on my flight attendant.
Fights even before takeoff. Yelling, screaming, disobeying flight attendant orders, bringing tension to the aluminum tubes that carry us. Even diverting flights.
Yes, and that right there is the big thing, diverting flights. So let's just say you're on a flight and you're unruly and it gets ugly. And then they finally say, folks, I know we're flying from, Phoenix to Albuquerque, but we're going to have to touch down somewhere else. Like, oh my God, because somebody's being a Richard. That may cost you.
But this morning, similar behavior could be costly. Just ask James August, who's just been ordered to pay Hawaiian Airlines nearly $100,000. He was abusive and threatening to his girlfriend and 3 kids, then to flight attendants on a flight to JFK in November, even using the back of his hand to slap an attendant. The pilot turned back. A judge ordering the New Jersey man to pay back the cost of fuel, crew, and rebooking.
Yeah. Think about that. Think about that for a second. The judge says you're paying for this. Because when you're in the air and something goes down, that's a federal issue. So the next time, and look, are there people that are unruly? Yes. And sometimes whatever. Sometimes people drink too much, it's stupid. But now it's become ridiculous. I mean, there's not a week that doesn't go by that we don't capture somebody being a jerk on an airplane to other people, to their own family members, to the people that work inside, on the airplane. It's nuts. It is. But if you thought for a second, if I do this, this may cost me 6 figures plus, and they're serious?
Could this be a message to passengers who may have felt emboldened after the outrage of Dr. David Dow being dragged off a jet for refusing to give up his seat?
There's a bit of a pendulum swing, I think, going on after the David Dow incident with United Airlines. We don't want to have unruly passengers. It's just not a good idea, and passengers need to exercise restraint.
This passenger's lack of restraint will cost him 10% of his pay a month until he's paid Hawaiian Airlines back that nearly $100,000.
That's right. They're garnishing his wages. 10%. They're garnishing his wages 10%. That is ugly. But it'll make you think. Because, you know what? A lot of times, unless you hit people in the pocketbook, they don't think about it. And sometimes we overdo it with that. And this may be an overdue. This may be a situation where, you know what? We're going to send a message right here. We're going to send a message to everybody who thinks this is cool. We're going to send a message to everybody who thinks, hey, I can do this. We're going to send a message to all these people. We're going to do this. So the next time somebody thinks about it, they'll go, you know what? I'm just going to sit down and shut up. I was going to do something. I was going to say something, but I've chosen to keep my mouth shut. And I've got 100,000 reasons for that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, man, we got some stories coming up. We have what I consider to be one of the stories of the year coming up. It is incredible. I think it'll make you smile. It's a heartwarming story. Plus, I've got a story specifically for producer Phil that I know he will love. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. CarShield is amazing. Life's expensive, and it's getting more expensive. And while things are going good, there's always that what-if situation, right? You're finally in a situation where you think, you know what? I'm getting a little bit ahead. I'm no longer living paycheck to paycheck. I'm doing all right. But what if you took your car in and you found out it's going to cost you an extra $1,800, $2,000? That's not good. Extended vehicle protection with CarShield will protect you from that. They make the cost of covered repairs and the entire process so easy. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car while your car's in the shop. And by the way, when your car is in the shop, you're going to get a rental car for free, but you choose that shop it goes into. Doesn't matter. If it's a dealership or your favorite mechanic, they're going to get them paid directly. That's what's so amazing about this. Save yourself thousands of future car repairs. Get covered by the ultimate in extended vehicle protection like I did. Call 800-CAR-6100 and mention code Benson, or visit carshield.com and use code Benson to save 10%. That's carshield.com, code Benson, or call 800-CAR-6100. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. A lot of people texting in about the Russia investigation. And, look, I know a lot of times people say, Chad, you're so flippant, you're so sarcastic. Yeah, it's infotainment. We're having fun here. But I study this stuff. I watch this stuff. I read this stuff. And all of what I know so far up until today is the same thing that I found out today. Today, we just got indictments handled down. That's it. Indictments. And I would say this. If Trump wasn't president, I challenge you guys this. And let's say it was Ted Cruz. Let's say it was, pick anybody else running against Hillary. These things probably still would have happened. She may be president, but we knew long before any of this crap that this stuff was going on. And that's something I think we forget. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You call it ridiculous. We call it reality with a twist. Say what?
Say what? Translate in Latin means Florida. I've got a heartwarming story for you guys right now. You guys ready to be heartwarmed? Are you ready? Because you see people out there and you see that maybe life deals them a hand. I use that loosely here. And it doesn't look like a good hand. Again, loosely. But they don't let the world keep them down. No, they don't. I've seen many people who've struggled in life. And they get down on themselves. Right? And they let life really, really get to them. This guy does not. This guy shows you, no matter what happens, he is as equal to anybody.
Miami Beach police say 46-year-old Jonathan Crenshaw held a pair of scissors with his feet and stabbed Cesar Coronado. According to the arrest report, Crenshaw says that he was lying down when the other man punched him in the head. Crenshaw stabbed him twice and ran away. But a friend of the victim says that they only asked the man for directions when he suddenly jumped up and attacked them.
Now, why did he stab him with his feet? You see, he has no arms. And other witnesses said he's just asking for directions. And apparently this guy's an artist. And these people were visiting from Illinois, and they asked him directions or something, and maybe he got agitated, I don't know. And he just grabbed himself the scissors, the most, what's the easiest, most incredibly pointy thing that I have in front of me? It's the scissors, and then scurried away. And I say scurry because I don't believe he was running. But you see, Florida continues to give and give and give. Case in point, this very dramatic 911 call.
A man called 911 and pretended his grandmother needed help so he could get a fast ride to Hooters, cops claim.
It's my grandmother's car. She's old and she's...
Where is she at?
She's at Hooters.
She's at Hooters?
Yeah.
She's at Hooters. Grandma's at Hooters, you see, kids. She's having issues, kids. She's got a weak ticker, kids. She's struggling, kids. Say, what? And I need a ride to Hooters.
My grandma keeps having heart bypasses, and she's about to have a stroke.
This is part of the 911 call. Police in Florida say this man, 27-year-old Jonathan Hinkle, made around 2:30 in the morning.
Officers can help you, please.
Okay, let me make sure this is clear. You need assistance getting over to Hooters so you can go help your grandmother.
Yeah.
But at this time, she doesn't need any medical assistance.
No.
Ma'am, I think you're wrong. If you would have listened early in the phone call, he says she is about to have a stroke. She's had several bypasses. She's at Hooters, and she's about to have a stroke because not only is he a medical professional pretending to be, maybe, probably not. He's also a person that is a seesayer who can see into the future. Yes, kids, that's what he is.
Canvassing the area for hours, cops say they never found Grandma. According to a police report, she was not having a stroke, nor was she out that late or at the Hooters restaurant. Officers later determined Hinkle needed to get to his girlfriend. He was later arrested and charged with misusing the 911 system.
This is what I feel about that. I have a feeling he was worried his girlfriend had some boyfriends because she worked at Hooters. And he wanted to get there to make sure that the guys weren't skeezing around trying to steal his girl, right? Trying to steal. Nothing happens after midnight that is good. I think we all know that. We've seen live PD. Secondly, and this is vitally important, that he should have thought about this for a moment. At least he didn't drive drunk, because maybe he was a little bit inebriated. So I'll give him that. But here's the thing. If you have the money to get to Hooters and to go to Hooters, for whatever reason, you don't think maybe you have money for a Lyft or an Uber? You don't think? And what were you planning to do when you showed up at your girlfriend's work because you're worried that she is going to get snatched away by another cooler guy that is actually at Hooters rather than calling and pretending that grandma's sick? Say, what? This happens in Florida. This is where these things happen. You got a guy with no arms stabbing somebody and then scurrying away. You got a guy calling 911 because his grandma's having a pretend stroke because she's at Hooters because she's so excited because these wings are amazing. Maybe it's the heat out there that it's doing that.
A person's brain works 13% slower when it has to operate in extreme heat. Scientists studied 44 college students living in Boston during a 2016 heat wave. 22 of them lived in brick-based buildings with no air conditioning, while the other half lived in air-conditioned dorms during the 12-day experiment. The students in the non-air-conditioned buildings performed over 13% worse on both math and memory tests than their air-conditioned classmates.
Say what? Of course they're going to. You also walk 13% slower. You want to do things less. Hot is not good. And if it's extremely cold, also not good. Now, I prefer, if you told me you have the choice between extreme heat or extreme cold, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, or 120 degrees, I'll probably take the 40 degrees because, you can put a jacket on, you can make yourself comfortable. But the reality is extremes of any, heat of any, it's uncomfortable to do things. I think we know that. I do. I don't know if it makes you dumber, but it makes you not want to do stuff. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Croatia takes on France this weekend. I'm going to break it down for you straight right now. Here we go. It's a World Cup final. Probably going to be about 1.5 billion people watching the World Cup final. You have France. I actually had them losing to Germany in the final, so at least I got one of the teams right. Taking on Croatia, which I didn't have. I had them getting to the quarters, but didn't have them advancing. They're the cardiac kids. They're going to hunker down. They're going to back in. They're going to play a game where they take a few opportunities here and a few opportunities there and hope that they can go longer and longer and try to strike late in the game to win it. France hopes they score early, and then they have to stretch Croatia, and that's when they'll take out Croatia. I believe the game finishes in regular time with a France running out 2-0, 3-1 kind of game, and Kylian Mbappe, the 19-year-old superstar, is going to run roughshod, I believe, on Sunday. That's my prediction. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Russian intelligence officers were accused of hacking into computers of the Democratic National Committee in the Clinton campaign and then releasing stolen emails before the election.
The goal of the conspirators was to have an impact in the election. What impact they may have had or what their motivation may have been independently of what's required to prove this offense is a matter of speculation.
Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein said there's no allegation the conspiracy changed the vote count or affected the election result. He also said there was no evidence in this indictment any Americans knowingly communicated with the Russians.
They caught Boris and Natasha. Well, did they? They indicted them. 12 people. What does it mean? Right now, nothing. We knew that they did something. That's nothing. We've learned nothing new. Yesterday, when I talked about the whole Peter Strzok thing, My thing was, what did we learn new? We learned nothing new. We just heard everything we've already read about out of the mouth of Peter Strzok, and then everybody got a grandstand. Today, an opportunity to go out there and for each side to now have their say about something. The left is out there saying, look what we found, look what we found.
Donald Trump likes to describe this as a witch hunt. Well, we just found some witches, and they were indicted.
But that doesn't mean he's a witch. And that doesn't mean that's the witch you're going after. I don't know what's going to come out of the Mueller investigation. Could be a lot of things. Could be nothing. Could be we caught people that we knew were doing bad things, which, by the way, Obama and his Justice Department knew there were things going on throughout this and didn't warn maybe the way that they should have. So what have we found out today? Nothing new. Both sides will come out and they'll point some fingers here, point some fingers there, saying yet another indictment and Donald Trump's not involved in this indictment. Yet another indictment and Donald Trump is not part of the indictment. In fact, no American is, and the people that have been indicted and or pled guilty all pled guilty to something that had nothing to do with Russia and the election. Not saying something's not going to come out of it. But the reality is, what it started out to be was a investigation about Trump, his campaign. Did they collude? Did they do all of these things? And we're still in a situation where we're sitting back there going, I don't see it yet. And the longer this goes, I don't know how long this is going to go. I don't know how long. But much like I talked about yesterday with the Peter Strzok thing, and if you guys don't know who he is because A, you don't care, or B, you don't care, he's the FBI agent that was on the Mueller team that he and this Page lady texted back and forth, and all of we're going to stop him, we're going to do all these things, and we didn't learn anything. We're not going to learn anything bombshell in a staged environment like that, because anything that really could change maybe people's minds. But I don't even think we're at that point where we can change minds anymore. I think if we're honest with ourselves, you've made up your mind already. Trump is either guilty or innocent in your mind, and nothing is going to change that. There may be a smattering of people that may say, the independents out there. But even then, they've got their mind made up. This is a waste of time. We're not going to find out anything. Nothing's going to come out of this. Trump is guilty. Trump is innocent. For a lot of people out there, the mind is already made up. They have formed their opinion. They have seen everything they want to see. And no matter what you put in front of them, it's not going to change anything. It's not. Yesterday, the Peter Strzok, if you believe Peter Strzok is a bad human being and evil and conspiring against Trump to destroy the Trump administration and to make sure that they take down his presidency, nothing changed yesterday. Right? You believe the same thing. If you believe that he's a great guy, that he's doing the right thing, that he was just joking, some of those text messages, that Trump himself is bad and needs to be brought down because the only reason he's president is because he cheated to become president, then you still believe that. Nothing has changed. And this isn't going to change anything either. And it isn't until the independent minds out there sit down and go, okay, let's take a look at this thing when all is said and done. We're still trying to figure out how the movie ends, but we're guessing how the movie ends, and we've made up our mind of how it's going to end. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet along with us. Again, 12 people indicted. I don't know what it means to anybody, if it really affects anybody. Trump is in Britain right now, and he is out there being Trump, doing what Trump does.
Allowing millions and millions of people to come in to Europe is very, very sad. I think you're losing your culture.
We've said all along on this program that the war that's taking place in the West, if you will, in many ways is a culture war. First, it was with, you look at the radical Islam. That is a part of a culture war. But then you look at a lot of other places around there, and they do tend to worry about losing their identity. And to me, look, we're a nation of immigrants. Zero problem with that. That's absolutely right. But we're a nation of immigrants built on certain principles, and why those people came from other countries to come here was because of those principles, because of those ideals. Like those ideals are that idea of you could come to this country and you can, they're giving you freedom and the opportunity and all of these things. That's the beauty of what it was. What we're finding now, though, more and more, not just here, but around the globe, is people want to be who they are. They just want to do it in your place. And that is frustrating. I got a lot of friends. I lived over in Europe for a long enough time. I got enough friends that, when I talk to them, their frustration is, and they're no fans of Trump, and they're no fans of Teresa May or Macron or a lot of it. But I will tell you things right now, that their frustration is up there because they do feel like they're losing a sense of their identity, and that they're not even losing it. They're being shamed to not even show it at times, which is ridiculous. It really is.
I think that's very much hurt Germany. I think it's very much hurt other parts of Europe. And I know it's politically not necessarily correct to say that, but I'll say it, and I'll say it loud.
Yeah, that's a Trump thing right there. And that's the one thing I was, as I mentioned earlier, the thing about Trump, too, that I think that let's just say, even for a moment, that there wasn't all of the craziness that surrounds Trump. Trump would still come off at times as abrasive. If you've known anybody from New York, really from New York, they can be abrasive. They're abrasive to each other. It's the same thing, very much like French. The French are very abrasive towards one another. London's the same thing. The bigger the city is, sometimes the more abrasive they are, the more straightforward they are. They're a straight shooter. They don't want any small talk. They're just going to say it like it is, and they're going to keep moving on. And I think if you took away all of the craziness, all of the wildness, all of the wackiness surrounding Trump, at times he would still come off, in this day and age, of everything that is prepackaged, pre-prepared, plastic in answers, it would just come off weird. But you throw everything else in, and then that just snowballs into definitely not being politically correct. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet along with us. My Pillow, kids, My Pillow. Not your pillow, but My Pillow is amazing. When you buy a My Pillow, you will be like, My Pillow is amazing, because it is. I sleep like I've not slept in years. I kid you not. As an adult, I cannot remember getting this many hours of sleep, and it is incredible. It really, really is. It's 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. And right now, for my listeners, this is what they're doing. They're doing a BOGO. You buy one, get one. It is amazing. That means you buy one, you purchase one, they're going to give you one. All you have to do is call 800-944-4975 or go to mypillow.com. When you do, use promo code Benson. You're going to love it. You're going to sleep like you've never slept before. It is truly amazing. When you get a great night's sleep, you know how productive you are in the day after. It is incredible. What are you waiting for? Buy one, get one now. Call 800-944-4975 or go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Benson, BENSON, for the buy one, get one free, just for the listeners of the Chad Benson Show. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. Oh, Henry Cavill, what did you do? Oh, you talked about something and you said something that was truthful to you, and for that, you're a bad person. Straight ahead, Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
So the Me Too world has another victim, and this victim did not do anything, didn't rape anybody, didn't inappropriately touch anybody, didn't do anything bad except speak his truth. Henry Cavill has apologized after his Me Too rape backlash. Now, what? He didn't rape anybody, Chad. No, he didn't. What he said was, in the latest issue, I think it's of Australian GQ, that dating nowadays just sucks. It's stupid. It's awful. He doesn't want to do it. He says, quite frankly, in this day and age, I just, the thrill of dating somebody and trying to chase them and court them in the way, you got to be careful. And I don't want to be accused of anything, including, rape or something else. And of course, he can't say that. And people are like, oh, how dare you say something like that? Why? He's not your average Joe. He's Superman, for God's sake. Right? This guy's, he's in Mission Impossible, the new one. He's in all kinds of movies. He's a star. I can understand why people of his, essentially of his fame feel that way. He said, at this point in time, it's just easier to go back to a relationship or a girlfriend that I used to date because it's just easier, better the devil you do, essentially, than the devil you don't. And, of course, he's taking huge flack. How dare you say something? You can't say something like that. How dare you say something like that? There's no way you should be able to say something. Why? That's his truth. He feels like I'm sure a lot of people have felt through the years, long before Me Too, that there's always a target on their back, that there's always, athletes have thought about it for years, that there's a target on their back. People looking for something, looking for a moment, looking for a night, looking for something, always. And he said that, and of course he got attacked for it. And everybody's upset. How dare you say something like that? That's horrible. You've accused, you're damaging the movement. No, he's not. He's being honest. And I'm here to tell you, ladies, this. I'm here to tell you. Your guys won't say it, but I'm telling you, the more real the robots get, the further away from relationships are going to happen. I'm telling you guys this. I'm giving this to you now. I'm letting it out there. Maybe you shouldn't, Chad. Maybe that's wrong. I'm just telling you. And that's for the average guy. The better they get, the more real they get. You watch what happens. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Very interesting. Bush and Clinton were sitting down talking about stuff like the political divide. I know it's weird. The Bushes, the Clintons sitting down. What? Yeah, they sat down and they had a chat about this world that we're living in.
I'm disturbed by the debate that's taking place because I think it undermines the goodness of America.
Yeah. I think in a lot of ways it is... It's gotten so ugly out there. But part of that is because everybody now has a voice that they never had before. Before, their voice came in November. They came in election time, right? Now everybody has a voice 24/7.
I think that the whole future of the next 50 years is going to be determined probably in the next 4 or 5 by whether we choose to find a way to get along and work together.
Yeah. I think that's real. I think that really is something, and it is ugly out there. It's not a good time. It's a frustrating every day, and more I see it. This divide, because you listen to my show. I get the left hates me one day, the right hates me the next. Someday both hate me, someday both love me. But what I'm getting more and more is disdain from people. I'll never listen to you again. You're an awful person. How dare you say something like that? And I'm like, wow. And that's both sides. It's like, if you don't agree 100% with what I have, I am done with you. Period. Case closed. I am done with you. We're not to have a political debate. I'm not coming to you to listen to anything other than you affirm my beliefs. I'm sorry, this isn't the place for that. It isn't.
We've got to get back to other directed politics. All this sort of character assassination stuff makes me want to throw up.
Yeah. And the character assassination has been going around since day one in the world of politics. But it's everything now. Everybody gets hammered. Everybody gets destroyed. It is nonstop. It is 24/7. And even as you know, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle it is. It is assassination. And it's gotten to the point where, as I've said over and over, we've stopped trying to say, let's make sure that we show the people our ideas are better. It's just now, let's just tell everybody how horrible the other side is. And that sucks. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Think about this for a second. You go on an airplane. You disturb everybody to the point where they say we got to make an emergency landing. Wait till you hear what happened to one guy because of that. Oh, it's going to make you think. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
In addition to releasing documents directly to the public, the defendants transferred stolen documents to another organization that is not identified by name in the indictment, and they used that organization as a pass-through to release the documents.
Rod Rosenstein right there talking today about the 12 people that have been indicted criminally through the Mueller investigation as they investigate Russia and the hacking in. Apparently they hacked the DNC server, which we knew, Hillary, which we knew, and a few other things, all of which we knew. But they did say today that no American that they knew of or that they so far have been able to found knew any of this stuff. So what happens? We'll see. How much longer does the investigation go on? Again, we'll see. But this is definitely another situation where all of these things we've already thought or we knew. We knew Russia was involved. That's not a secret. We knew WikiLeaks leaked everything and they got them from somewhere. That's not a secret. Is there a third party in between that got the information and leaked it? Maybe. But for all intents and purposes, all of the things today that you're hearing are things that we already knew or we already thought.
When an election is so close, it's hard to put your finger on any one particular issue, but clearly this had some impact.
But what impact did it? This is my thing. What impact did it have? If these were two unknown commodities, there were candidates we didn't know anything about, could it have had an impact? There wasn't anything inside of any of this stuff that anybody was really surprised about when it came to Hillary. Trump has lived his life in front of the camera. We knew pretty much everything about Trump. We knew that he was, he likes the ladies. We knew a lot of these things. I mean, there was nothing so far that we have found that has been astonishing, like, oh, wow. It's like even when the Colin Powell, when he talked about Israel and the nukes, everybody already knew they had nukes. People who don't even understand, politics or follow it knew that militarily Israel had stuff like nukes, but now it's out there. Well, but did it influence you? I don't think it did. And until they can find, and if you're influenced by a meme or a fake story, that's on you, right? That's on you. But unless they find, hey, they went in and changed votes, it's going to be really tough. It is. It's going to be very, very tough. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's going to be tough for them to hang something on Trump, and that's what they want. That's what they're looking for. That's what this investigation has started out to be. They may get indictments for other people for lying, saying it was Tuesday when it was really Wednesday. That's why lawyers say just shut up. That's why you see them say plead the fifth. Plead the fifth. Plead the fifth. Plead the fifth. Say nothing. I'm cooperating. Aren't you nice to me? Well, they're looking to catch you on something. So there you go. Plead the fifth. But until they find that smoking gun, it's just more things that we already knew. So you're on an airplane and you say to yourself, self, I'm going to make this plane uncomfortable for all.
Since that United Airlines passenger was dragged off a plane, there's been a worry that the atmosphere in jetliners is changing. The number of these scenes is growing. A passenger taken down by a pilot.
Sit down. I'm not. You don't put your hands on my flight attendant.
Fights even before takeoff. Yelling, screaming, disobeying flight attendant orders, bringing tension to the aluminum tubes that carry us. Even diverting flights.
Yes, and that right there is the big thing, diverting flights. So let's just say you're on a flight and you're unruly and it gets ugly. And then they finally say, folks, I know we're flying from, Phoenix to Albuquerque, but we're going to have to touch down somewhere else. Like, oh, my God, because somebody's being a Richard. That may cost you.
But this morning, similar behavior could be costly. Just ask James August, who's just been ordered to pay Hawaiian Airlines nearly $100,000. He was abusive and threatening to his girlfriend and 3 kids, then to flight attendants on a flight to JFK in November, even using the back of his hand to slap an attendant. The pilot turned back. A judge ordering the New Jersey man to pay back the cost of fuel, crew, and rebooking.
Yeah. Think about that. Think about that for a second. The judge says you're paying for this. Because when you're in the air and something goes down, that's a federal issue. So the next time, and look, are there people that are unruly? Yes. And sometimes whatever. Sometimes people drink too much, it's stupid. But now it's become ridiculous. I mean, there's not a week that doesn't go by that we don't capture somebody being a jerk on an airplane to other people, to their own family members, to the people that work inside, on the airplane. It's nuts. It is. But if you thought for a second, if I do this, this may cost me 6 figures plus, and they're serious?
Could this be a message to passengers who may have felt emboldened after the outrage of Dr. David Dow being dragged off a jet for refusing to give up his seat?
There's a bit of a pendulum swing, I think, going on after the David Dow incident with United Airlines. We don't want to have unruly passengers. It's just not a good idea, and passengers need to exercise restraint.
This passenger's lack of restraint will cost him 10% of his pay a month until he's paid Hawaiian Airlines back that nearly $100,000.
That's right. They're garnishing his wages. 10%. They're garnishing his wages 10%. That is ugly. But it'll make you think. Because, you know what? A lot of times, unless you hit people in the pocketbook, they don't think about it. And sometimes we overdo it with that. And this may be an overdue. This may be a situation where, you know what, we're going to send a message right here. We're going to send a message to everybody who thinks this is cool. We're going to send a message to everybody who thinks, hey, I can do this. We're going to send a message to all these people. We're going to do this. So the next time somebody thinks about it, they'll go, you know what, I'm just going to sit down and shut up. I was going to do something. I was going to say something, but I've chosen to keep my mouth shut. And I've got 100,000 reasons for that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, man, we got some stories coming up. We have what I consider to be one of the stories of the year coming up. It is incredible. I think it'll make you smile. It's a heartwarming story. Plus, I've got a story specifically for producer Phil that I know he will love. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. CarShield is amazing. Life's expensive, and it's getting more expensive. And while things are going good, there's always that what-if situation, right? You're finally in a situation where you think, you know what, I'm getting a little bit ahead. I'm no longer living paycheck to paycheck. I'm doing all right. But what if you took your car in and you found out it's going to cost you an extra $1,800, $2,000? That's not good. Extended vehicle protection for CarShield will protect you from that. They make the cost of covered repairs and the entire process so easy. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car while your car's in the shop. And by the way, when your car is in the shop, you're going to get a rental car for free, but you choose that shop it goes into. Doesn't matter. If it's the dealership or your favorite mechanic, they're going to get them paid directly. That's what's so amazing about this. Save yourself thousands of future car repairs. Get covered by the ultimate in extended vehicle protection like I did. Call 800-CAR-6100 and mention code Benson, or visit carshield.com and use code Benson to save 10%. That's carshield.com, code Benson, or call 800-CAR-6100. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. A lot of people texting in about the Russia investigation. And, you know, look, I know a lot of times people say, Chad, you're so flippant, you're so sarcastic. Yeah, you know, it's infotainment. We're having fun here. But I study this stuff. I watch this stuff. I read this stuff. And all of what I know so far up until today is the same thing that I found out today. Today, we just got indictments handled down. That's it. Indictments. And I would say this. If Trump wasn't president, I challenge you guys this. And let's say it was Ted Cruz. Let's say it was, pick anybody else running against Hillary. These things probably still would have happened. She may be president, but we knew long before any of this crap that this stuff was going on. And that's something I think we forget. 323-538-2423, a heartwarming story coming up next. Oh, yes. It shows you that just because you've got some disabilities, if you will, doesn't mean you still can't do things. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Hashtag me too. Hashtag immigration reforms. Hashtag help. I'm trapped in a hashtag factory and I can't get out. The Chad Benson Show.
Sometimes in life, things happen, and it's how you respond to them, right? It's how you respond to them. Are you handicapped? Are you handicapable? Some people say, oh, you've got a disability. Other people say, no, I flourish in life. This is a heartwarming story about somebody who was able to flourish, even though he doesn't have arms.
Miami Beach police say 46-year-old Jonathan Crenshaw held a pair of scissors with his feet and stabbed Cesar Coronado. According to the arrest report, Crenshaw says that he was lying down when the other man punched him in the head. Crenshaw stabbed him twice and ran away. But a friend of the victim says that they only asked the man for directions when he suddenly jumped up and attacked them.
Only in Florida, right? It doesn't happen anywhere else. He has no arms. And he stabs somebody with scissors. And then he scurries away. He doesn't run, he scurries. Chad, you're a jerk. I'm just saying, I love heartwarming stories. And to me, that's a heartwarming story.
A man called 911 and pretended his grandmother needed help so he could get a fast ride to Hooters, cops claim.
It's my grandmother's car. She's old and
Where is she at?
she's at Hooters.
She's at Hooters?
Yeah. My grandma keeps having heart bypasses, and she's about to have a stroke.
This is part of the 911 call police in Florida say this man, 27-year-old Jonathan Hinkle, made around 2:30 in the morning.
If officers can help me, please.
Okay, let me make sure this is clear. You need assistance getting over to Hooters so you can go help your grandmother.
Yes.
But at this time, she doesn't need any medical assistance.
No.
Is she working there? Producer Phil, what is the connection between these two stories?
Alcohol may have been involved?
Florida. Florida, kids. Florida's again, heartwarming stories, all of them. He was eventually arrested because he's an idiot. I swear. You sit back and you're like, let me ask anybody. Maybe you've done something stupid in your life. We all have. We all have moments where, like, this wasn't my finest moment. But at no time in my life did I say, I have to be to Hooters now. Because if you have the money to go to Hooters, it's fair to say you probably have the money to take a Lyft or an Uber. What do you have to do? What is so important at Hooters at 2:30 in the morning, and nothing good happens after midnight, at 2:30 in the morning that you have to be at Hooters? What is happening? Who are you stalking there that is getting off and you're trying to catch? I'm curious. I told you I had a story for Phil. Phil, get ready for this.
For $200,000 to $300,000, you can buy a 2-bedroom condo by the beach in Florida or take a trip to outer space. That's how much sources tell Reuters billionaire Jeff Bezos' rocket company plans to charge per ticket to tourists who want to venture beyond Earth.
Rocket company!
Space Force.
Space Force is part of Space Force. So here's the thing. It's $200,000 to $300,000. If you're making, you're making $1 million or $2 million a year, you got a nice 401k, you got a bunch of investment monies, the opportunity to go to space, the opportunity to get up there and check this out, that would be interesting.
Blue Origin has said that its space tourist trips will be life-changing. The general program is a rocket and capsule system designed to autonomously fly 6 passengers to more than 62 miles above Earth, surpassing the Kármán line, which is the internationally recognized boundary with space.
So you go up there, and you're not there for a long time, though, kids. So you're going up 62 miles, and you're going to have some fun.
High enough for passengers to experience a few minutes of weightlessness, do somersaults, and also to look on at the curvature behind them of Earth.
And you'll be able to see, obviously, above you, space, and below you, it's going to look really cool. And I got to be honest, I don't think it's that expensive. I mean, I know that sounds weird. It's like $300,000, but you're going out to space, right? And remember, much like TVs, once they perfect these things, and there's 20 of these companies, those prices will come down. They're going to come down big time. And eventually, it may be a $2,500 ticket. It might be a $1,000 ticket.
One aerospace analyst estimates each flight could cost the firm about $10 million. And until paying customers become more frequent, Blue Origin could lose astronomical sums of money on each space ride.
Yeah, but when you're worth $140 billion, and this is something you're trying to bring, as we saw with Amazon, he's fine losing a little bit on the front end because I think he knows he'll make it on the back end. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. A decade ago, AMAC was founded as an alternative left-leaning behemoth that is ARP. Like ARP, AMAC membership costs less than $20 a year, but you don't have to worry about that because you're not going to pay anything. What? Well, I'll tell you about that in a second. What they do is amazing. AMAC, for many of you out there, your values and AMAC values are spot on, right? They're about protecting our borders, about advocating for things like protection of borders, common sense immigration reform, Social Security reform, Medicare, those kind of things. That's what they're looking at. But plus, they offer you amazing discounts on things like Disneyland and Legoland, movie tickets, retail, restaurants, and so much more. And right now, my listeners can join for free. If you're over the age of 50, go to amac.us/Chad. You receive your first year for free. Doesn't cost you a penny. There's no cost. There's no credit card, any of that stuff. stuff. It is free. That's amac.us/Chad or call 888-355-1668. That's 888-355-1668 or amac.us/Chad. Join for free today. Your useless info of the day. Are you ready for this, kids? In 1836, they filed the patent for the fire hydrant. It also burned down. That patent did in that office. Have yourself a great rest of your weekend. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.